Welcome everyone to the Final Fantasy Randomizer, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer Archipelago Crossover Tournament hosted here by Final Fantasy Randomizer on RPG Limit Break. That is an utter mouthful. I am your one of your two hosts. I'm Darkmoon. I will be joined shortly in the booth by Hebbings just as soon as he's done with something else he's doing on another channel discussing this very tournament, so we will see him here very soon. But in the meanwhile, we get to discuss what is going on right here, right now. Archipelago is a multi-world randomizing system that lets you play multiple games across all the various games that you have chosen, and share items and share everything else, and that's what we're going to be watching here right now. It's 2v2 team play. Two of them will be playing Final Fantasy Randomizer, two of them will be playing Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer, and they're going to be working together to try and beat both seeds. They've got to kill Dark King in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest and Chaos in Final Fantasy Randomizer. I think it's Dark King. I'll be honest with you, I've only played Final Fantasy Mystic Quest once, and I screwed it up for my partner, so I'm real great at discussing that. We're really hoping Hebbings gets here soon. In the meanwhile, though, you'll see that in the middle, we have the AP Tournaments tracker system right here that will tell us what's going on, what we should be paying attention to, what all the guys are going to be getting here. So anything that they pick up key item-wise we'll be able to figure out. Top-wise, we have Fizzlebeef and Fried Potato with a Fighter and a Red Mage. These were forced. There's some good spells, there's some good other things, but let us briefly touch upon the blessings that they have. Resist Ice and Fire and Improve Cat Claw for Fighter. No promo spells. And the Red Mage has plus 800 GP, plus Temper, minus 10 MDef. So that Temper's going to be nice, that MDef, not as much. Now, as Hebbings is saying in text chat while he's taking care of some other stuff, resetting is allowed, and that is especially the case with Final Fantasy Randomizer. Our randomizer allows for saving items in the cloud when Archipelago gets them. And that means that once you've explored a dungeon, if you don't feel like saving the levels or anything else you've done there, or you want to get some of your items back that you may have expended in there or whatsoever, you can just hit that reset button and go, and now we are actually going. So we'll get the timer rolling, and we'll start buying spells, and we'll be doing stuff in Final Fantasy Mystic Quest Randomizer that I don't understand very well. So, Sky Fragment found for them, and we are now checking spells and seeing what we have. Aether, Cure 4, Fog 2, Harm 3, and Nuke. I saw Nuke, I saw other stuff, but what I saw was Nuke. Fire 2 swords are for sale, or Fire 2 sword is what we have more Fire 2 swords, and there's Fast there on a hammer. So, what you're seeing right here is the all weapons cast magic. They're pulling from a curated set of spells, so you're not going to see everything, you're not going to see Nuke hammers, but you are going to see a curated set of spells that let the characters in Final Fantasy Randomizer cast spells on basically every single weapon. It's great because it gives you a lot of depth, and you can see Fizzlebeef over there buying a lot of armor to help out his characters. It's a little confusing at times too because you won't always know exactly what weapon you have, and you're going to have to check its stats to see. But all those extra magics, like may not even need to find Fast at this point as a spell because, you know, they've got it on a hammer. Why even worry about it? So it looks like we're doing some battle sections here on the bottom half for Fizzlelot and Tan as they're getting levels and items, while the top half is off into the Temple of Fiends, and they're checking boxes to see what is here. AP item, that was a projectile refill. Woo. And we reset out, and we're going to go check the top. So you see, they get to reset, projectile refill is still sent, and they can do that again. Final Fantasy Randomizer is very big on resetting. RPG Mel, I hope I said that right, 710. What are the rules for hints? Seems they got a chance to hint for their go modes. They can hint for anything. There are no limits on what they can hint for. However, they do need points for it. It's 10% of AP items, I think it is. So they need, like, Final Fantasy Randomizer needs 22 AP checks before they can do a hint for something. So.
Where Mystic Quest I think Mystic Quest needs 25. I'm here now, by the way.
Hey, thanks! Hi, Hebbings! You can discuss your game. You can discuss your game, because I don't know it.
Oh, yeah, no, there's all you see on your side is a purple red mage and a cat just wandering through a dungeon.
Hey,
you're like, what's happening?
Hey, now, I made those cat sprites for you guys, so...
They're adorable and we appreciate them. So essentially what's happening on the Mystic Quest side of the house is our runners need 24 fragments of the Sky Coin because, Dark King got wise and he decided to lock his door extra tight. So our runners need to reassemble the key to get in. That being said, there are 40 shards total of the Sky Coin. So they only need 24 of the 40. If they find any extra, there are no reward bonuses, unfortunately. I love seeing what's happening on Linkalot's side, by the way. He's scoping out the overworld, seeing what he might need to hint for. Just kind of looking where everything is because the overworld has been shuffled. These are not vanilla locations for our folks familiar with Mystic Quest. And if you just saw on 10's side, the Crest Warps have been shuffled too. Moby's Crest is not usually in the basement of the Fireberg vendor. And the other thing that's been shuffled here is companion locations. Kaylee does not just sit there and hang out with Ruben's mom most of the time. She's usually at her own house or in the Windia Inn. So those locations have all been shuffled to kind of add some variety to all the seeds that are coming in here.
Okay, and I want to touch upon something that was going on with Final Fantasy. Towns are shuffled. So you'll see they will pop into Provoca and not find Provoca. The other thing is, when you were watching, if you're paying attention, Fizzlebeef saved at the fork in the road before Matoya's Cave, did Matoya's Cave, reset back, saved a lot of time. There's a lot of time to be saved in Final Fantasy Randomizer because we allow for big resets and cloud saving of all the items, and it's one of the things I love about this randomizer, and Final Fantasy Mystic Quest needs to get on board with it.
Look, that's a development thing, and Wildman is the man that's planning to talk to you about that.
It's such a time save, though.
Yeah, it is. It is a huge time save. I am envious every time. You also don't have to wait for a pop-up to go away every time you get an item from this. You just get red text and you move on with your life.
I don't even pay attention to it most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, every time we get express shipping from you, it's like, by the way, you got this. By the way, you got this. By the way, you got this. And we have to stop for every single one of those and clear them. And I saw from the chat, someone's like, I didn't know you could check the map. We didn't either for a while. Someone randomly pressed the select button one day. I was like, hey, do you guys know you could scroll the overworld by pressing select? And we're like, whoa.
Wow.
So we use that a lot now.
I would, yeah. So we got
one thing about that overworld scroll with the peeking, by the way, is normally you can't receive items on the overworld unless you go into a location. But if you press select and enable the overworld scroll, you can receive your AP items that way.
So I want to point out we have a bit of divergence going on. Fizzle saw fire swords for sale at Canera, and he had a fire sword that he started with, and then there was Nuke. So he's sitting there going, I think I have the firepower to at least check some of the chests here in Ice Cave. Potato looked at Ice Cave and said no, and decided to go a different way, and I really can't blame him. They start with the canoe in this flag set, so you see he's walking right over the rivers and doesn't care. He can go check out Marsh Cave and a couple other places, and maybe if he gets some key items, unlock some more stuff. There's no reason to go do Ice Cave just yet, but Fizzle is a madman, and he feels like he can do it.
Ooh, someone got express shipped a white seal. So now we're going to see a little bit of lead gain on Sir Linkalot's side because Potato will not be finding that since he's not in the same location as the Fizzlebeef here. But White's going to be a huge spell once you start getting some spell slots here.
Fizzle gets wiped by an ambush on mummies and is set back out of Ice Cave. That is the danger. And unfortunately, he didn't get to really check a lot of chests right now, so that's actually kind of a big time loss that he just suffered.
Yeah, I would say it's almost worth it, though.
Well, yeah.
Because of the advantage he's gained for Linkalot here. It's one of those things that makes AP so interesting, right? It's like, yes, he went in and died, and he lost some XP progress, but he got something for his partner. And if you look, 10 and Linkalot are in the exact same location. They've been railroaded into Ice Pyramid here.
Yeah.
So Linkalot having that spell power advantage here, now that he's got the white seal, it's going to make up time. He's going to start gaining lead once he gets spell charges to start using white freely.
It is a question of what's going to come after this. I mean, white is great. No question about that. But yeah. Fizzle... So there's a rule in Final Fantasy Randomizer about how much do you dive a dungeon that's trying to give up on you. Ow. Squinted, too. That's rude. So this dungeon has kind of given up on Fizzle twice now. He may or may not... Oh, yeah, he's nuking to try and get through it. If he can get through this and he can get to some more chests, that's great. But how many times does he wipe before he decides to go somewhere else? Because there are other places open to him right now. So...
Indeed. And this could all flip on its head if Fizzle burns a lot of time here in Ice Cave and Potatoes found, like, floater or cube or
exactly
Oxio or something for 10.
Yeah, if there's something important in Marsh Cave that balances things out, that's the risk, but that's, of course, risk and reward here right now, too. Ow. So we had a question about everything in FF is open, so the ship can be an incredibly vast region. Yeah, we have... as Fizzle gets wiped again, and he has to decide what he's going to do. We have most of the world open with a bunch of map edits as well, so there's plenty of places that you can go once you get the ship. The airship, of course, opens up a little more, but you can get through most of the game at this point with just the ship and the canoe. So, really, Final Fantasy can do a lot once we get out and moving.
Yeah, especially since Bridge is also open at the start, too. Bridge and Melman.
We're just so used to that.
I was about to say, it's been kind of a wrench for the FFR runners, because y'all aren't used to that.
The River to Melman?
It's like,
yeah.
It's like where else can I go? And it's like, oh wait, Melman's open.
Yeah, it's a river that's been carved to the mountain that blocks Melman from the rest of the Circle C continent. It's not in the vanilla game, but it's been added in here by the devs for this particular flag set, and it confuses many of us because we're not used to it. I'll go look at the flags to verify exactly what is open, but there's a lot that's open. You go ahead and discuss your game, Hebbings.
Oh yeah, no. In terms of openness for Mystic Quest Randomizer 2, we actually have a quality of life tweak for the AP settings. So basically what we were finding in testing when we were vetting these settings was the Mystic Quest runners were being BK'd into Foresta for like 10 to 12 minutes every time they ran a seed, and those are some huge fines for Linklot. I'll talk about those in a second. Age of Shield and Sandcoin. But to alleviate that, River Coin has been given to our runners from the start. So as soon as they load in their seed, they have access to Foresta and the Fireberg region. Now, that being said, Overworld Shuffle's turned on, so your options are still limited, but you at least have half the world instead of a quarter world to explore, which makes it more balanced not only for the Mystic Quest runners, but also for their FFR counterparts, so they can find, more items for them, and it just kind of frees things up so that way it limits the amount of BK that's happening in the seed. There still is a possibility for some BK to go on, but not a ton, which is kind of annoying.
To comment now, I want to point out that Potato didn't reset out of the top of Marsh Cave. Now, there may be reasons for why he didn't. He may have found something that didn't get saved in the AP that he wanted to save a hold of. I'm very ruthless in my resetting, so if it's not, like, something dire importance, which most of the stuff is going to get shared with AP, I would have just reset out of it anyway. Not every runner chooses to do that. Whether or not Potato feels like he got something he really needs out of that, that's his decision to make, because I didn't see it because I was looking at the flags. Fizzle, however, is still struggling here, but he has actually made it to the 6-pack, and I think this is his 4th attempt into this dungeon. Thankfully, he has all the characters alive and is actually moving. Got a temper something, which is really nice. That plus the fast, and he's basically got a party that's solid to go. Yeah. So he's probably not going to use the temper weapon as a weapon. He's just going to use it for spellcasting that temper, and it's great.
Yeah, and over here on the Mystic Quest side, I think the only thing that we don't have queued in because unfortunately I was not able to grab them.
Fizzle is abandoning 6 chests. He's done. He's wiped 4 times. He's not interested. However, I believe that temper hammer or whatever it was, weird temper sword, was an AP item. So he should be allowed to keep that, and he doesn't have to go back and dig for it. Yep, there it is, temper sword. So he's good. He got what he wants. If there's something in there, he'll go get levels. I think he's going to Volcano now instead.
Yeah, probably for the best. It's not a good play to sit at one location and try to run your face like through that brick wall.
Yeah,
like you would do in a solo run sometimes. Like especially when you have a partner relying upon you for key item checks.
Yep.
The game kind of changes. You have to think about that as well. As like I could sit here and try to get those 6 chests, but there's so much more I could do to free up not even my game but my partners. Because I mean, we look at the Mystic Quest side. They still only have a sword. They have no explosives, no axe, no claw. So their dungeon exploration is extremely limited, and also gates a lot of chests behind those weapons. Not to mention that they have almost no check chain items as well, and I mean they're looking pretty okay on equipment, but there are still the ever elusive Thunder Rock and Captain's Cap, which could literally be anywhere between the 2 games. So there's a lot going on, and it's best to leave. Go check those.
Something else to think about too is how much time are you spending, and this is for both Mystic Quest and for Final Fantasy, although Mystic Quest is slightly easier on the exploration side. How much time are you spending? How long is a dive going to take? How many chests are left there for you? in Fizzle's case, Ice Cave only had 6 chests left, and it wasn't worth the time investment of the 3 or 4 minutes to try and go get those. Whereas Volcano is like 40 chests, I think, somewhere around there. It's chest rich, and you can do a lot of it. And if you reset out certain areas, It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Also, real quick, before we get too far, I don't know if you've done it yet, but huge shout out to our trackers. We only have four eyes between the two of us, and that's not enough to keep track of everything that's happening on the screen for you lovely viewers out there. So shout outs to Wout and Mecklin for being our second pair of eyes for this, because otherwise we would not be seeing some of the things that's going on here.
So there was a question earlier about what all is open on the Final Fantasy overworld, and what we have unlocked for this is a basic open progression, which opens the rivers system between Ice and Volcano. It also opens up the mountains between Canaria and Dwarf, so you can walk the whole of the Circle Sea with a canoe. It then also adds in the Bahamut Cardia dock, which puts a dock on Bahamut Island, so you can check Bahamut and his chests, of which all the Cardia treasury chests are put in his island in this flag set. And then we have Northern Docks on, which adds docks at both Onrak Continent and the Yannikern Desert, where the Mirage Tower is. So you can check those locations as well. Gaia and Lefane are not made easier to get to, however, so you would need to actually have the airship to check those locations.
Yeah, always nice to find a shard, by the way, behind those red chests. I mean, it's like, I didn't get anything for myself, but at least I sent something nice to my partner over there. Yeah, shard, crystal. So you see the red chest popping over on Mystic Quest side of the house, and they're not getting anything quote-unquote good for themselves. But, you know, if it's a red chest and it's an AP item, it's a goodie for the FFR side for sure.
Question in chat, what made you decide to do these 2 games as AP? Well, there's a couple reasons for that. First of all, Final Fantasy Randomizer for the last couple of years has started doing AP crossover tournaments with various communities. We did Time Spinner as our first one. That was actually hosted by the Archipelago tournament, or tournament Discord themselves, and we helped run that one. And then last year we did the Link's Awakening DX randomizer for our second crossover. So us plus Zelda was a lot of fun. And as it just so happens, one of our lead devs, Wildham, is also the main dev for the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest randomizer. He basically made it and has people helping him on it now. So he's the one in charge of it, and they're our sister community, so running the two of them together just seemed like a natural fit.
Yeah, no, it was. We've been doing so many things together, and as communities, just it made sense to start doing these. And the monthly showcases really did get a lot of folks excited for something like this, so we decided to put it on a tournament. But back to the action over here. It looks like that a ribbon and X-Cal was found over on Fizzlelot side. Meanwhile, Exit, Phoebe, and Meteor have been found over on Ten's side.
Nice.
So there's a lot going on over there at Tenacity as well.
Also known in this treasury, there's also the Aegis Shield and Aegis Shield. There's 2 different Aegis Shields in our game, so it confuses me which one they found. I think it was the Final Fantasy Aegis Shield. And also the Dragon Armor. So whenever you can promote, assuming those things are there, plus that X-Cal, plus that ribbon, wow, that's a lot of good stuff for that night. He gonna be stacked.
He just got to get some protein in him. He'd be good to go.
Bulk up, beefcake fighter, beefcake.
There we go.
Oh, yep, it was the FFR Aegis Shield specifically.
Yep. Yeah, the Mystic Quest Aegis Shield was found a little while ago. Get your ball deuces in chat for She Hat appeared. Usually a check that's faded. A lot of people don't like fighting Medusa, but if you got white, you might as well get blasting. And Lincoln does just that. Gets rewarded with a potion. So unfortunately, a dud check. And no exit on his side, so he will have to make the walk of shame out of Volcano, but still not a very long walk. Meanwhile, there's just fish on 10's side of the house, and we're freezing them. We're making fish sticks for later, so it's fine.
Plus, with that the white spell, that fight didn't take very long. So even if it was a dud check, he didn't spend a lot of time on it, and they got experience for it. So that's not bad.
Yeah, for sure. once you start blasting the mini bosses with white and flare, it really just becomes negligible. Smart move on both sides of the Mystic Quest house here, diving Pazuzu's tower. Yes, there's only 2 chests they can get to right now because they don't have Dragon Claw, but those 2 chests could have something important. So always great to check them. Same thing with here with Rope Bridge. There's only 2 chests here, but if you don't peek them, there could be something important there, and you don't want to miss that.
Well, just yesterday when we were doing our run in this tournament as we're a team together, there was actually you got me the key for Final Fantasy, and although there was one dungeon I'd already been in that only had 3 chests left that were locked by the key, I still went and did it, because, you don't want to have something in there that causes us to get BK'd or miss progression or any number of things. So, sometimes you just got to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes you got to make the dives. And speaking of dives over here, I'm noticing that Potato now also in Ice Cave. So I'll be interested to see if he does a full dive here or if he also dips like Fizzlebeef did after getting, I believe it was white.
Well, Fizzle wanted to do the whole dungeon. The dungeon didn't want Fizzle to do the whole dungeon.
Fair and balanced. That is true. He was rejected by
the dungeon. He was hard rejected by it. And he may get hard rejected again if he doesn't get turn order here. Oh, well, yep, no, that's a death. Ouch.
Yeah. But that brings up another hazard that I've noticed with the AP seeds that as a partner of an FFR runner, you notice that sometimes it's so easy to dip out of locations sometimes because you hit those enemy walls. You're either getting ambushed to death or you're just getting like wrecked by monster formations. And unfortunately, that has caused some runners, ourselves not included, to fade something that could point us in the right direction sooner, just because of how difficult it is. That's one of the key skill sets I feel like is going to be in this tournament, is not just being able to scope out and route those finds, but to remember to go back to the ones that you've faded. Because sometimes you get rando brain and you're like, I was there, I could have swore I grabbed something, and like you faded it, so you didn't get your goodies before you left.
Fizzle's a good enough player. I'm sure he's going to remember the chests he has and hasn't checked. Like that happened in our seed yesterday. There was a chest here I couldn't clear because of some ambushing monsters that just were not letting me through. And then it turned out that there was a key item in there that we needed me to go get later. These things do happen. But I remembered it and I was like, oh right, that's the one I had to skip. Thanks, game.
Ooh, huge fine on Fizzlelot's side. Linkalot just got his Dragon Claw, so
nice.
That is one of his go mode items.
Big progression there. So Fizzle is trying to figure out what to do. See, part of the issue is, though, Fizzle's also very low level, and he's often getting ambushed even by low-level pecks just because of this. He doesn't have great gear. He only has Nuke and those spells, and yeah, Nuke's great. It's fun. But it's not always going to carry you, and he's struggling with this right now about the fact that it's just not carrying him. Whereas I think...
Linkalot hasn't express shipped Masa over to him yet?
No, you did that for me yesterday, and that was fantastic, and no. No. And unfortunately, yeah, like, he needs good rolls on these nukes, and he's just not getting them. Because these monsters are hitting really hard. If he can clear any... And no, thanks. Thanks, game!
Meanwhile, it looks like Potato's getting a little bit of a grind going on here. I think he's found a pack that he either wants to grind or just hitting some monster tiles that he wants to do checks on. But I'm noticing that Potato's trying to play it safe here and trying to get his levels up. I think that's one of the reasons he didn't reset out of March either, is I think he's trying to keep his level up as high as possible so that way he's not a hindrance to 10, potentially getting progression locked.
Well, one of the problems is Fizzle ran into an issue where that specific pack that he was taking 2 or 3 fights on ambushed him. So, and it had some nasty stuff and it wiped him the first time, so he didn't go back for it. Yeah. It's been a rough run for Fizzle.
Well, you got a heal rod. I don't know if that's going to help him at all, though.
Maybe eventually, depending upon what the spell is. It looks like it's actually a heal rod. Okay.
Yeah, Meanwhile, I'm seeing Tristram cast Arrow over here on 10's side, which is great. Unfortunately, I did not get in soon enough. I had a prior obligation, so that's why, unfortunately, I had to leave Dark Moon to run solo for a little bit. But our partners in Mystic Quest have shuffled spellbooks. So you can actually do an info dump when you generate your seed to get a text file to tell you what partners have what spells and at what level they get them. Unfortunately, I don't have access to that, so I will be commentating that live for you, chat, as I find that information out myself. It looks like Tristram is going to be kind of our early game runner here, though, having access to that arrow spell. Not to mention Tristram's not only the fastest partner in the game, he's also the chunkiest. He has the highest HP pool out of all of our partners. So a nice pick for 10 here, early game. I'll be interested to see if our runners take on Jerkbird at all, if that's going to be required or not. We'll see.
Looking at things, Potato got the tail and some of the chests that Fizzle wasn't able to clear out, which means as soon as he can actually get out and start sailing on the overworld, great times. No ship yet, can't do that, but could eventually. Haven't seen anything else of value. That looks like that was it. So just the tail was faded so far. It's not the end of the world. That's not necessarily progression. Fizzle, meanwhile, is starting to pick up levels because he's 4 levels at least behind Potato at this point, and he desperately needs those levels. So we're hopeful that he can make this work.
Yeah, and it could be a blessing. Like Fizzle fading tail. I mean, you've defeated Chaos without upgrading your partners before, without promotions.
Yep.
So, it's doable. It's not the end of the world to not have a promoted party. Linkalot finding Suncoin now, that basically opens up the world to him. So that's going to be great for Fizzlelot. They're going to be able to have someone full world exploration going on here. Just got an axe as well. So literally Linkalot has everything he needs except for mega grenades to complete every dungeon if needed. So that means that there's going to be, he's going to be able to hit switches where he needs to. He's going to be able to climb up rock walls. He's going to be able to grapple. The only thing he's not going to be able to do is check bombs. Mega grenade checks are few and far between, but they are important if there is something red hidden behind them. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out and see if there's a hint thrown out for mega grenades because they are a go mode required item.
Not sure where Potato was going. I think he was wondering if the Bridge to Lefane was on, which it's not. But Fizzle finding Onrak here in, I think it's Elfland that he's at. That means that he has another dungeon he can take because Linkalot found Oxyale for him. So that's more clearance that he can do. He's got plenty of options. He hasn't even touched Marsh Cave yet, which I think we saw didn't have much of anything. But he still has to check it. And then even beyond that, he can go do all of Earth Cave because that's open to him as well.
Yeah, notice I didn't see Linkalot go into a live forest, and I just saw him fade it. That's an interesting play. I wonder how that's going to work out for him. Also, notice he has not gone in the River Coin door yet. I don't know if he remembered that he's starting with River Coin, or if he's just saving it for later. That could come into play here, since I think for sure 10 has gone over in the Fireberg region, or
cool.
At least has looked at it.
Danny telling me Onrak is at the Crescent location, which I should have known because the dungeon in there is colored green, and that's the Crescent location color in the randomizer. If it was purple, it would be Elf, and I would know that. Yeah. My bad.
So 10 now getting his potions consolation prize for taking out Medusa here. And both of our Mystic Quest runners are pretty in step with each other. Linkalot's a little bit ahead, like I said, just because of the early white power spell that was given to him, basically giving him that offensive ability to get through some of these fights faster. I didn't see if white was found on Fried Potato side, but I'm assuming yes, because he went through and he did all of Ice Cave. So that's now in that little kitty cat's paws right now. He's going to start wreaking havoc. Just start blasting.
Amazing.
Oh, and there's Flare found. Where was that? That was in Sea Shrine. So yeah, Fizzle Beef coming in clutch here for Linkalot. That's your bread and butter spell right there. Only second to white, which is non-elemental and hits everything, but Flare does more damage, and more damage is great.
Well, that's going to make Linkalot very happy.
Ooh, speaking of happy, there's Floater.
Oh, well, Fizzle may just decide to go do that if he gets wiped out of this dungeon, or clears all of this one side. He has Mermaid side that he can do, and he's getting levels here. He probably is going to want to save these. But yeah, he can do Mermaid side of this dungeon, which is this floor, and then the Mermaid dungeon, or the Mermaid floor beneath. And then he may just go bounce out and not do the other half of Kraken side yet, and take care of Floater and some other stuff, because there's some easier checks to do than trying to do the Kraken side of this dungeon.
Yeah. Now, interesting thing I'm seeing over here on the right-hand side with Fried Potato and 10 is, or Fried Tenacity. I'm pretty sure I saw 10 go into Lava Dome. I thought I could have swore he did. And if he did and he dipped out, he missed Floater. That was in Lava Dome. So that's a kind of a miss for Fried Tenacity over here. Going to go ahead and take on Jin, while Fizzlelot, I think, is going to commit to a full dive here. There's really not a lot you need. There's only 2 Mega Grenade checks. You can complete 99% of Lava Dome here, and check density-wise, Lava Dome is second only to Ice Pyramid. So if you can get through Lava Dome, which you only need Mega Grenades for it and nothing else is gated, I would say do it, just because there's a ton of chests in here.
I don't think this necessarily, not having the floater yet, necessarily hurts the FFR side just yet. There's plenty that they can do with what they have, and there's not a lot that they're necessarily lacking so far. Probably what's going to happen is once Potato finishes this out, he'll either go back to Volcano or he'll just hint for the floater. Because that's the next obvious thing to get is, where's my floater? Where's my ship? Which, also, by the way, Fizzle... Yeah, I mean, both of them can turn in. They just have to walk the long way over to Crescent Lake to get that floater turned in. But yeah, saying, where's my floater, is an obvious thing, and then he'll just be like, oh, it's in Lava Dome. Go finish Lava Dome for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the strat that we'll see. 2 major prevailing strats in this tournament. We'll see which one kind of boils down, which is do everything you can until you hit a brick wall, then hint. And then we have teams that are specifically having hint targets they're hitting early. The only downside I see with that second plan there is hitting your hint targets early is if it's like literally in the next location. And then in my mind, that's a burned hint. It's like, oh, well, that's kind of a waste. Even if you do get the peace of mind of like, oh, there it is. You only get like 10 hints on the Mystic Quest side, and I think the same thing for FFR as well. You only get 10 hints total. So burning any one, and that's if you 100% the game. So burning any one of those precious hints could be huge in whether or not you find exactly what you need when you need it. I have just got word from our tracker. Whoa, I have the spell list for our companions here. Kaylee's rocking Fire, Heal, Quake, and White, which makes her a very viable partner with Petrification immunity. White is a great spell to have for a partner. It's non-elemental. You take her all the way to Dark King. Tristram has Cure, Arrow, and Thunder, so not going to be Dark King material, but great for fodder, especially as you're making your way there, because he is just fast. Phoebe has Cure, Heal, Blizzard, and White. Not too far away from her vanilla playbook. The only thing that's missing there is really Thunder, which we don't use anyways. So Phoebe's also going to be a great play. And Ruben with Blizzard and Flare. Ruben having Flare, he only has fire resistance, but Flare is a great spell. I think Phoebe still out damages him though, because she has a higher magic stat. So I think we're going to see our runners have to choose between Kaylee and Phoebe here. For the end game, I'll be interested to see who chooses who between our runners.
So do want to point out a couple things. One, Wakewater was found, which may or may not lead to anything. We also had the ship found in Earth Cave by Potato, which is nice, but the ship isn't hugely necessary now that we have the floater out. It might make the floater turn a little faster. That's about the only major thing that's going to happen for him. And then also the Mazamoon was found by Tenacity and sent over to Potato, which is really nice. But it's also, again, not a huge deal when Excal has been sent to Fizzle, and he can just go class change soon. Well, or he could if he had Tail, that's true. Tail's still in Ice Cave, and he doesn't have that yet, but he might just hint for it at this point.
Indeed, it could be a possibility. And like I said, I'm waiting to see the hints come out. I'm really interested to see who hints for what, and I think both of these teams are kind of sticking to the school that me and you follow, which is save your hints
for a bit
until you're BK'd. Yeah, save them for a while. Do the checks you can, just because you don't want to burn them. They are very, very precious.
We did have the Power Rod, which is our Ruse Stick found, so that's evasion for Fizzle. He also has an Invis 2 something on him as well, which is even more evasion. So his evasion is taken care of. We know his buffing is taken care of. He just needs to get something to do his damage and then find a couple characters that are gated by fiends to finish out this party, and he'll be good to go at that point.
Yeah, Fizzlelot just save scummed out of Hydra fight, which is a little concerning, but not terribly so, since Wakewater, I know, we now know is somewhere that's pretty easy to find. Hydra is your only other progression option in that top tile of the frozen Aquaria section if you cannot thaw it out. So we have had seeds where like Wake Water is in the frozen section, and basically you have to defeat Hydra to get to that one tile to then start getting your go mode progression. But commentator knowledge, we know that that's not needed. And fading that check, not the end of the world since he has exit available to him. So I think Linkalot now is starting to run down his options here, getting to the end before he heads over to Fireberg.
A lot of good options exposed so far. My question is Fizzle going to actually do Kraken, or is he going to reset out? And it looks like he's going to try and do Kraken, despite the fact that I'm not certain he can take the boss. I mean, he does have all that evasion, but...
What would the thought process be behind taking on Kraken? Is the third party member really like the boon there that you're fishing for? Or is it just, having the extra shard? Or what would make Fizzlebeef take on Kraken?
4 extra shards, because the Fiends gate shards. The first 2 Fiends, Lich and Carry, gate 2. And the last 2 Fiends, Kraken and Tiamat, gate 4 each. So that's 4 shards that he'd get if he can get it, and he's a little under halfway on what he needs. And it also grants him another party member. And as far as combat is concerned, I'm not sure exactly what sword he's going to be using for that, and they just hinted MQ hinted Mega Grenade, and then Fizzle hinted Loot, but he can't afford it. I'm wondering if he already hinted something else. I missed that. Apparently this going for Kraken is something he does. And I mean, I get the thought process. I might have thought about resetting out, but the levels and the gear could be nice. He doesn't want to let go of that. He has Ruse. He has Invis 2, he's got Nuke, he has a Temper Hammer. It's not that he can't do it, it's just that it feels at this level a little dicey.
Yeah, and Linkalot using the shuffled crest location express here to get around the world. Since we didn't see the pop-up of the location of Mega Grenades, I'm assuming we're looking at Fizzlebeef's AP tracker.
We are.
And because of that, because we didn't see a result return on the Mega Grenade check, that means that it's in the Mystic Quest game. So I'm imagining now Linkalot's checked that, and he's like, Expressway, we have to go get that now.
Yeah.
How do I get those Mega Grenades ASAP?
He's also hinted for his Sun Coin. I'm just looking at Linkalot's stream right now. No, wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Mega Grenade is in Ice Pyramid. Ice Golem chest.
Okay.
So
yeah, making his way back to Ice Pyramid. Still not opening that River Coin door. I don't know if Linkalot's realized that he has River Coin.
He has a tracker.
Question mark?
He has a tracker, and it looks like it is lit, so he should know.
Okay.
So...
I'll be interested to see the thought process behind not taking the door and walking into the Fireberg region by the time we end this. Fried Tenacity, 10 getting a mask. It never feels good. Mask only reveals enemies on 2 floors of Volcano out of the other floors that you can see perfectly fine in. But Apollo Helmet, that's a really good find. That's your fire resist right there, and that's also got some really good stat bonuses. So it's all coming together.
Also to note,
they'll find that Aegis Shield.
To note, part of the reason why Linkalot got that floater is, as per Danny, Fizzle hinted for that floater, and that was part of the reason why he knew to get it, and why maybe Fried Tenacity didn't get it yet.
Fair. But like you said, I mean, not a huge piece missing to the puzzle quite yet. Fried Potato still has a ton of stuff to check for right now that he can get to, especially now that he's got Ship. So realistically, Floater's only going to negate, 2 locations? If that?
Basically just 2. Yeah, because all the chests at the Cardia Islands are... Well, he doesn't have Ruby yet, so it's gating 3. Because he could also go check Sarda right now. Not that... I mean, Sarda's just one guy and there might not be anything there. And honestly, all the checks that are gated are onesie-twosies. So they're not really a huge deal, but it is also time saved. The floater has, when you're in the airship, there are no encounters, and it's faster than the ship. So, well, okay, maybe not faster than the speedboat, but still, it's fast. So you're saving time by having that floater.
Gotcha. And I think, what was that, a red mage behind the Kraken?
It was.
I just saw?
Yeah, so he's got double red, which means he took that red mage, other red mage died, he's reviving the red mage. He will likely turn in his floater and then go buy that nuke again on the second red mage because double nuke, all the time double nuke.
Yeah, speaking of nuke, I think Linkalot has flare on his side of the house. So chat, when we get to Golem, I would like for you to, would you like to melt a snowman? Because I would love to melt a snowman. I love seeing 4K pop up on screen. I love seeing Ice Golem die to flare. 1 is preferable, 2 is acceptable, and look at that, the freebie seeds on the way to Golem, begging to be turned into a puddle of water. I can't wait to see it.
Mecklin asking if that was our Medusa over at the Kraken spot. Yes, our FF1 bonus bosses for our alternate fiends are turned on. So our Medusa being a cheeky community meme about the fact that we had a seed way back in the day in a spring tournament that was decided not by good gameplay specifically, but by the worst pack we've ever seen of Medusas to date. It was wretched. We invite you all to come over and check it out because that race is great. Ooh, they were
1,021 damage. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Every time.
Spicy seeds. Spicy seeds.
Yeah, big number make me feel so good. And there he goes. 2 flares. He's gone.
Fizzle's got his airship turned in. He is now flying around, and he's going to not class... Oh, that's right. He can't class change. He still doesn't have tail. But he's going to go do on-rack, which is... Not on-rack. Ordeals. Oh, word. Ordeals here because he's got firepower and warriors, and it's got, like, 10 chests in it.
Ooh. Linkalot now hinting for the big 2. Thunder Rock, Captain's Cap. I think he's getting ready to
his go mode.
Finish his go mode checks.
Yep.
Gemini Crest was hinted for too. He has Mobius, so I think he's thinking that Gemini is gating his Mac access. Because remember, chat, you need to take a Crest Warp to get the Max Pier, to get on Max Ship, and we don't know where that is yet. We don't know which crest is gating that, and we don't know the location of said crest that's gating the pier. So it could literally be anywhere.
Fizzle apparently hinted for Key, so knows that Ordeals is here, which is good. This opens up knows that Key is at Ordeals, which is good because this opens up a lot of stuff for him. And he's getting trolled by the entrance of Ordeals. Just love to see it. Yep. In the process, also, I wanted to point out that because of the tracker, I can tell you that Sir Linkalot has 14 Sky Fragment shards right now, and 10 has 11.
Yeah, so still a little, like, halfway there.
Halfway there.
The 16 there for him now. But, there's a lot of dense locations that both of them still have to check for shards. I don't imagine that they're going to hit a deficit on shards before they find their go-mode items. Realistically, shard gating has been rare with this flag set. I find it's mostly your items that you've been missing. Vanilla, French vanilla,
Fizzle warped
house here in Alive Forest.
Fizzle warped right back to start once again because Ordeals is nothing but pain.
Oh yeah, no. Whenever I see my partner go into Ordeals, I'm like, I'm going to be looking at this gray for a while, so I'm just going to focus on my game. So like, I turn snowblind to Ordeals as a Mystic Quest runner, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, they haven't found warp yet, so they're kind of stuck. It looks like it might be a 4th pillar Ordeals, which is just delightful. You love to see it.
Oh yeah, speaking of seeing things over here, Bottle was just found by, looks like Matoya was handing it out. So Bottle is now in Potato's possession. We'll see if that comes into play here.
Mm-hmm. It's one item. It's a turn-in.
Going up tree. Yep.
We're going to find out what that bottle is.
Good.
Bottle being... an AP item. Of course it is. Cure Potion. Woo!
Gross.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
Yeah, not great. I am seeing on Linkalot's side that Ghidra does not need to be defeated to unlock the door to the chest he gates. So in the Mystic Quest randomizer, we have a couple changes. Quality of life, not just exclusive to AP, but in the randomizer in general. All the mini bosses are required to get the dungeon loot now. So before in vanilla, you could just kind of walk up and get your major treasure chests for those locations. So Falls Basin, Giant Tree, Volcano, you just walk up and get the treasure. Now we make, there's vampire wreckage happening above me. I'm sorry.
I watched that happen. That was brutal.
Yeah, you have to defeat the bosses of the of the dungeon to get their rewards. So the meteor chest there, you actually have to go all the way up tree, defeat Ghidra, drop down the floor 2, and then you can go through the door to get the meteor chest. But thankfully, that's peekable, so Link-a-Lot knows that he doesn't have to make that jump all the way up and down.
I want to point out Fizzle's fighter right now is level 20. I think maybe even 21 because he got a chunk of experience in that chest that was fighting him really grossly and killed his red mages. That actually means that more than likely the slot that's currently empty is also level 2021 right now. We have on this flag set nuns gain XP, which means that when you have empty slots, they gain XP as if they had a character in them. That's why when you finally recruit a character, they're getting recruited at like 19, 18, level 20, whatever level the rest of your party might just be. They're gaining experience no matter what. So that whenever he gets a 4th character, it's going to be nice. He can do something with them and they're going to be viable. But mostly it's just the nice fact that that EXP got dumped on that fighter and he's getting some good stuff out of it.
Yep, and now we see why Link-a-Lot is full diving giant tree. Thunder Rock here on floor 3 being found. I'm wondering if Captain's Cap is shuffled in here too, since I didn't see a return command when he ran those hints. So both the Captain's Cap and the Thunder Rock are in Mystic Quest. We just don't know where yet.
Fizzle now doing all the key checks because he got the key and he may as well. Went from Elfland, or Elf Castle, which had 4. He's now checking the Canaria Town to revive people, and then gonna go do the 6 checks at Canaria. I'm not sure if he hinted for loot. I'm not sure if he has the hints to do it right now. But I'm sure he's on loot quest right now because he's very close to actually being in go mode. He just needs, I think it's something on the order of 6 more shards, and then his loot, and he could go into Temple of Fiends anytime he wants. Not saying he has the levels or the gear for it, but he could do it.
Yeah, meanwhile, Link-a-Lot also getting his Captain's Cap here in Tree. Tree is loaded tonight, chat. I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes ahead and goes all the way to the top here and then grabs everything and leaves. Sending a loot over. So there's the loot quest right there. That's probably why Fizzlebeef is where he is. And then a shard just for good measure before getting an Excalibur on Mystic Quest side as well. And there's Link-a-Lot dipping out. So realistically, he just has crests and shards left to find. Gemini Crest is still elusive. We haven't found the pier yet, but I imagine Link-a-Lot's going to start shard farming. Meanwhile, 10 doing some farming. I don't think Suncoin has been found.
Hooray! Sorry. You have to do that when they check the doors.
That's fair. So yeah, Fried Tenacity here hitting a bit of a road bump of seeing our BK over here on this side. I have not seen a hint on their side of the house yet, so I'm interested to see if I've just missed it or if they did hint for a coin of some such.
Point out that right now we have Fizzle clearing out all of this stuff. Kitsune said, Lemon Kitsune in chat was commenting about the fact that my brain was activating, that's why I said something useless there for a second, commenting that when the Knights get class changed, their spell slots are going to be useless. And this is, in fact, very true. Knights do not get promo spells. The class change, however, would let him use the Aegis Shield and the Dragon Armor he has, as well as the Excal that's sitting in his inventory. So even if he doesn't get the spells, he gets everything else.
There we go. And Link-a-Lot finally using that river coin I've been questioning this whole time, and making their way over.
There's the hint for tail. Fizzle kicking himself because now he learns that the chests he had to skip right there. But he's got the levels now. He should be fine for it.
Yeah, and also Floater's going to get him there pretty instantly.
Yeah. No, it's not a huge deal. Like the biggest time loss is the 2 minutes he has to walk down, but it's not going to be as bad because he's got the levels and an extra character under his belt.
Indeed. Now seeing a bit of a grind over here on Link-a-Lot's side as well, fishing for some XP in these blue battlefields here, trying to beef up as much as possible for the fight. Ideally, our runners on the Mystic Quest side want the Ben character to be at about 20. That's the safe level threshold. All the enemies' attacks have been shuffled in Mystic Quest, by the way. So even Dark King, his attack pool has been shuffled amongst all the other enemy pools, barring some super mean spells. Dark King can hit like a truck, though, because, like, let's say he gets a Treant branch attack. Those moves scale off HP, and Dark King has a ton of HP, so you could be hit for, like, 1600 from a branch attack if you're unlucky with these settings.
Now, I am checking something. Okay, Shuffle Chime Access is not on. So somewhere in there, Fizzle got the chime and we just didn't mark it down, but that's good to know. He looked at his menu and was trying to see where, like, how many shards he had and what he needed. And instead of going and doing one of the other, like Earth Cave, which he was looking at, which is a very spread out dungeon, he looked at the fact that he has a chime in the cube and decided that that was way more valuable because there's like 52 chests here in Sky Cave, most of them all grouped up together. So he's going to do this instead and bank on being able to get at least 4 shards from boxes on the way down, and then the 4 off of Tiamat in the process.
Yep. And Link-a-Lot hinting for Gemini Crest again. I imagine he didn't have enough points before, but now is sorely missing that Gemini Crest, coming across all those. It's one of the most prevalent crests in the game, and I imagine Max Ship is hidden behind it. So not good luck there. But again, no return. So Gemini Crest is in the game.
Yep.
He just needs to go to it, and it looks like this might be the spot.
I went to click and see what it was, and I had literally just missed it as it scrolled off the screen, so I can't tell you where it is. But I'm going to assume he's beelining for it.
Yeah, I imagine this dead tree is gating... no, it wasn't. One of the battlefields here in Fireberg might be gating it, or it's in mines. We shall see. So a little bit of back and forth now. We flip-flopped. 10 was just in mines, but is now making his way to Ice Pyramid, which Link-a-Lot has already cleared out. So hopefully 10 also has Flare. I would love to see a Kitty Cat cast Flare and Milk Snowman. That would be fantastic. 23
Sky Fragments for Link-a-Lot right now, and 14, if I'm reading the tracker right, for 10.
I've really got to get with the devs and see if, like, when you play the cat sprite, when you cast Flare, if it would just, like, spawn a bunch of cat sprites instead of the like flare effect and have it meow instead of doing the
that'd be amazing
sound effect.
That would be amazing. Yeah, all 4 of the Chrono Trigger sprites are available, so they just have to program the 4 to do that.
Yeah.
And that is nothing for Final Fantasy. It made the cute little dingle and it was just money.
Rip.
Archipelago, you gotta love it.
Yeah, so sometimes it plays nice. Now, unfortunately, one of the memes going on is that apparently town hints are turned on, but they don't work in AP. So
no, I don't think they do, because AP takes... It's just the way that Final Fantasy is shuffled, because Final Fantasy does the item shuffling on its own, and then feeds that via YAML into AP. Our system is different from how most people do it. So, because ours are set at a specific spot, and then AP takes them and shuffles them around again via the YAML, the hints won't work because the Final Fantasy thinks they're one place and AP thinks they're somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, no, y'all gotta fix that.
Just don't use hints.
That's fair. Just find things.
To be perfectly honest, it's AP. You're gonna be checking all the boxes anyway, and you only get 10 hints. Like, no. Just go open all the boxes yourself. I'll be perfectly honest with you. When hints are on in most flag sets, I don't check them anyway. 1, because I can't remember where all of them are anyway. But 2, it's because of the fact that often you're gonna, like in a all loose flag set, you're gonna be checking those locations anyway. The hints are just a time waste. I know, hot take. Looks like Potato is at 14 shards. He just took out the carry alternate, which I missed. I think it was something yellow. I don't know. And then he got a black belt there at the back. I'm going to be honest with you, black belt's fine. Maybe if his blursing looks really good, it's nice. I can check that in just a second. Black belt is healed at plus magic, MDef, but minus 30 HP. Not the best. The thing is, though, to really make a black belt work, you got to grind. We haven't found a good grind tile for the black belt just as yet. This is Giants and Iguanas, which is not a great grind tile. And the fact of the matter is that the scaling is not high enough that I don't think a black belt's really worth it.
Yeah, fair take. Meanwhile, the Lifebook hint has been thrown out by Link-a-Lot, and it looks like it's an Earth Cave Giant Floor B1. So we might see Fizzlebee take a quick detour flight after Sky Temple here.
Looks like
to go get that.
The carry was a Tiamat alternate, dark purple for the colors because there's alternate colors on that side, I believe. And that Tia alternate is actually Lotan. Ooh. We came up with fun alternate names based on mythology for our 4 alternate bosses. Fizzle sitting at just 5 shards needed at this point. 1 more shard from one of these boxes somewhere in here, and then killing Tiamat will get him his go mode, and I think he's going to take that at this point. Especially if he finds a War Mech, and he's just going to be like, yes, please, give me the War Mech, we're done here.
Yep, speaking of go mode, Linkalot just got his last fragment via gifting. So he has reassembled his Sky Coin and is basically ready to go. It looks like he's picked up Ruben to go do a check in mines to go get a couple more pieces of equipment before running to the end. Again, still needs that Gemini Crest before he can get to the pier. But, you know, being able to get the right partner, get the right checks, get the right items you need. Looks like he's doing Kaylee's mom quest chain, which is Tree Wither into Elixir, and did not check Arian, so I guess he didn't have anything good. He's just going to lie in bed with whatever item he had after getting rescued. We'll never know what it is, chat. We'll never know.
Never. Fizzle has a Mazamoon. He may or may not even care about class change at this point. His armor situation is not the best, to be fair, but at the same time, if he's feeling pressured, especially because of those volcano and ice wipes, he may decide that he just needs to push the go button and just go.
Yeah. So what are you betting is behind Tia here in terms of partner?
Oh.
Party.
We already saw Black Belt, we already saw Red Mage. Ideally, you want... I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, a Thief would be lovely because Legendary Swords is on, so he could swing that Excal without promo. More than likely, it's going to be a White Mage and Fizzle skips it because that's just how luck works.
Fair.
Fizzle hates White Mages.
You don't think he'd take the White Mage just to get him killed so he can do a quick grind up to power level?
The only reason he would take the White Mage is to see it die. That would literally be
Fair.
it. But Fizzle is... if it was a Black Mage, Fizzle will take it. If it's a Thief, I think Fizzle takes it. If it's a White Mage, I think there's a long, heavy sigh from him before he decides what he's going to do.
If it's a White Mage, he takes it, and then it takes a dirt nap.
It very well might... Yeah, because I don't even think we've seen, aside from Cure 4, I don't think we've seen a lot of good magic for it at this point.
Yep, and we have found Max Pier. That was behind Gemini Crest. A good call on Linkalot's side, knowing that Gemini being the most prolific Crest Warp available to all of our runners. It is in a live forest, so at this point, what does Linkalot need to fish for? I think he's just waiting on Lifebook. And maybe... No, I don't. Maybe some levels.
There's a Gemini Crest, so he has that.
Yeah, no, he has go mode. He is in go mode. He could literally go to Dark King right now. I think it's a matter of waiting to make sure the Fizzle Beef is good and making sure that he's set in levels before he goes and takes on the end.
Fizzle doesn't even take that Warmech. That's a Black Mage sitting there behind the Hooray Dwarf here, so I think he takes that.
Speaking of taking things here, 10 now finally
Hooray!
making their way up P-Tower, getting their Sun Coin, getting their Axe. Going to be getting a lot of goodies from here, but very far behind Linkalot in terms of progression. Still hasn't made their giant tree climb yet to get their Thunder Rock and Captain's Cap, and those are at the very tip top. So I would say at least 5 minutes behind Sir Linkalot on the Mystic Quest side of the house here, unless the Great Equalizer has something to say about it. Nothing's set in stone until you defeat Dark King, and you cannot cure glitch him. That's been patched out of the randomizer, so you got to fight him the old-fashioned way, and boy, is he not nice.
There you go, that is Hooray Dwarf down for Fizzle, and that is presumably go mode, because there's his Black Mage. He's taking a third nuke bot. Now, do we class change, Fizzle? Do we go for that tail? I say no.
Fair. How many minutes out of the way would that be for a class change? Like 3
minutes to get it down to it, probably. Another minute and a half to actually get it. And I think there's Hollow Dragons is on, so it could be even longer. It's like a 5-minute detour to be able to do it, and I don't think it's worth the time, honestly. Not with the loadout he has.
I was about to say, with this loadout, you'd feel comfortable going to the end.
I would.
I'm assuming.
Even with the crap armor, because he's got an Invis 2 and a Ruse. He's got the evasion. The biggest thing you're worried about is being able to nullify the physical damage, nullify the magic damage. He has the ribbon to go along for the magic damage. So, it's just surviving the punches long enough to get to... Is he missing He's not missing a shard. Fizzle, what are you doing?
Earth Cave for Lifebook. He's getting his...
okay. There we go. That was Wakewater.
Yeah, not the chest he needs, but it's a nice to have, I guess.
This is part of the thing, learning what all the rooms are, because this summer, Final Fantasy Randomizer went through and actually named all of our rooms and our chests, making them actually make sense about how they're named. And so it went from, like, Earth Cave 22 to, like, Earth Cave B3, Vampire's Closet, Chest 1. So it makes a lot more sense, but now you actually have to know what each room is.
Indeed, and that nuke bot coming in, very handy in this monster in the box already.
Nukebot's everyone's favorite friend. There's the Life and the Cure book.
Right next to each other. That's funny.
That's your instant white mage right there.
Yep, and I guess Fizzle's comfortable with go mode because Linkalot's getting on max ship. He's also on his way to the end here. Probably going to be grinding on a couple levels here on the ship, trying to get that 1920 threshold. That way he can survive most spells. The only thing that would probably KO him is, again, a scaled up mob attack or laser. Laser could put you in the ground real quick, fast, and in a hurry. I think he's got enough armor right now to comfortably survive Spider Kids. So a little bit. I thought he froze for a second, but a little bit of contemplation there on Linkalot's side. Probably thinking through. It's like, all right, how many encounters do I need? How high do I want to get before we just run to the end?
So Fizzle is picking up his temper axes, getting himself ready for the final dungeon. He's going to get a temper on everyone. I think fast was at Canaria, so he's probably going to get a fast on everyone, and then he is going to be set to basically just, hopefully, buff and stomp his way through the dungeon. And it's a short dungeon. It's mid-Topher as opposed to long Topher. Long Topher is the vanilla version. Mid-Topher takes out the early floors that don't really do anything except waste your time, and adds in shortcuts to the Fiend floors to make them faster. So it's not as short as if you just immediately warped to Chaos's floor, which is short Topher, but it's not super long anymore.
Yeah, same thing with the Mystic Quest side. We have a bit of a mid-range dungeon here. You're not going to see the revisit floors in Doom Castle here, but you are going to see the boss refights. So essentially, all the bosses have been moved to the central staircase, and you have to defeat all 4 refights before you take on Dark King. But again, you do not have to go through the refight floors and navigate those. So we've just kind of taken out the extra steps. You get straight to the fights, and on you go. But again, Linkalot and Fizzlebeef, it's kind of their race to lose right now. If they get stuck at their respective final bosses, Potato and 10 could potentially swing in behind and take this because, I'm looking at 10's levels. He's got a level lead on Linkalot, and, 80 HP could be the decider here on whether you make it through some of those nasty Dark King attacks or not.
And this is a fast time for them right now. Hour for go mode, and they're entering their dungeons. Fizzle could be done at, like, the 105 mark if things go well here. He's got all the gear he needs. He's well set on the way of spells. He even has Life 2 on... Oh, he didn't get his nuke bot. He needs to set his last nuke bot. But he even has Life 2 on 2 of his red mages, because that was sitting at level 4 at Elfland. So, like, he's doing quite well, all things considered.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Linkalot hitting a bit of bad luck starting off here, petrifying his dead partner. Interesting play, Confused Ben. Let's see how that plays out. Not great.
Ouch.
He flared himself. So yeah, Rex very fast and starting off with Confusion. Not great. And unfortunately, he did not grind up enough levels on Phoebe to instant KO Rex here with a life spell and not throwing out exit to get rid of the boss first, or my favorite play, the Hail Mary Dragon Claw. Look, 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. My record has been 2 for 2 in these AP races, so first turn Dragon Claw instant petrifying this boss here has worked for me, but your mileage may vary.
Fizzle right now is working his way through the floor right before floor, and now he's on the earth floor, and he's taking this shortcut that normally you can't take because there's walls there preventing you from walking this direction. And look at that, we're already up to Lich, which is Bubbles.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Potato going through ordeals. I did not see if Potato picked up Warp, but there is a black belt in this party. So 2 fighters, red mage, black belt, and getting wrecked by these red gargoyles. Unfortunate.
Bubbles not hitting for much of anything. Fun fact, first time Bubbles showed up as an alternate fiend in Final Fantasy Randomizer, she had spells she was not supposed to, and she absolutely wrecked the players that were playing the game by casting Fade on them. It was a good time.
Yep. In chat, pointing out something I noticed on Linkalot's side too, opting not to exit out Rex, because Rex is susceptible to the exit spell, just like Stone Golem there. I'm wondering if Linkalot looked at his stats, saw the XP needed, and was like, I need Rex's XP reward to get to my comfortable spot. So opting, because if you exit a boss, you don't get their XP. You do not get the XP reward for killing that enemy. So maybe a tactical decision to hold back and, you know, take that fight head on instead of just casting exit and banishing him, saving a couple seconds there, when in the long run he's going to get security for the boss fight. And we see our two palette swap dragons here on Mystic Quest side. 10 opting to take on Hydra. Meanwhile, Linkalot on Wyvern. Wyvern is not been playing nice with these flag sets, I've heard. He's been getting some really high rolling multi-attack spells, and they have been in instant kills, and they have been wreaking havoc a bit. So this fight might see a reset on, wins the 50-50, gets Phoebe back up. Whew. Security restored.
Fizzle puts his ablative Black Mage up front. Doesn't want any of his actual important party members to get destroyed by Kraken. And also takes the slow 2 to the face, which is good because he's not going to be doing melee, so slow does not matter. Fizzle already swinging for 1,000 damage thereabouts, and this is probably not going to take too long at this point. Quad X is not going to do anything.
Just pick up your Black Mage like a red flag, like when you do with bullfighting, and you wave them around, and the enemy attacks them first.
The Ablative Meat Shield. He's great. He did his job. He took a slow 2, and then he cast fast. That's literally all we wanted that Black Mage to do right there. And he's doing it again right here. Ablative goes up front again. We're fasting, we're tempering, we're swinging. We're doing 500 damage for 4 hits, and then the fast comes out because of that. Squint does nothing. And we're buffing again.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jerkbird 2, Electric Boogaloo on Linkalot's side. Haven't seen anything nasty come out yet, but, you know, wait for it. It's not called Jerkbird for a reason. You know, he'll wreck you if you give him the opportunity. We'll see how that goes.
Both red mages got stoned on Fizzle's side, but that's not the end of the world because he's got a couple of soft potions to bring them back. Did get punched for a decent amount of damage, but he's got plenty of heal pots. Tiamat alternate is down. Ablative Meat Shield goes behind the fighter for a second, and we are already to the Chaos floor. I believe there are encounters on this floor. We're going to see if we get any, and Fizzle is safe. So now it's just arrange the party. So he's putting his fighter in the 3rd slot, specifically because the way the RNGing table works, it's weird and strange, and doesn't work the way you want it to. It's not really RNG, it's kind of a table of various values. And often, when you have a character in the 3rd slot, they can get themselves geared to be able to do the same hit over and over again if it's just them and the final boss just punching at each other. So that's what he's trying to set up, is just in case he gets down to just man mode of the fighter, he's trying to get them set so that they can just do this on their own on a crit loop.
Yeah, meanwhile, Linkalot now on Dark King as well, so Fizzlelot both on their final bosses here. Let's see how Dark King swings. Phase 1 has been the big hitter here lately, but pretty wimpy 240 coming out first turn. We'll see how thick this is. Not very indeed. Each phase rolls independently of the HP values available to our runners. That's going to be anywhere between, let me look, between 50% of their normal HP value or 125% of their HP value. So each one of these phases rolls that HP threshold. Instant kill coming out on Linkalot here. Again, Dark King, great decider. But, you know, as I'm talking about this, down goes Chaos.
Yeah, that was
Get your GGs in chat for Fizzle Beef.
Final hit of 1,400 damage thereabouts for Fizzle on his side. He is done. And we see that Fried Potato is actually going into Earth Cave right now. He needs 7 shards still, and he's actually picked up that life book, but he needs to figure out where to get his shards on his end. So that's something. Let's switch over to Linkalot's audio.
Yeah, meanwhile, Linkalot on phase 3 now. This true form Dark King vanilla. So sorry, arachnophobes. You're just going to have to deal with this for a second. But it shouldn't take too long. I haven't seen a lot of HP or a lot of annoying attacks come out yet. A lot of status inflicting attacks, but like, you know, they're doing 1 damage. It's really not that huge of a deal until something big comes out. And I haven't seen anything big come out. So we'll see. Ooh, yeah, no, there's the big attack right there. Pseudopods. So octopuses have the pseudopod attack and hit you between 1 and 6 tentacles. And a lot of times Dark King likes to roll 6 tentacles and it just does a lot of damage. So, you know, Linkalot not able to live through that if it rolls 6. Ooh, and Petrification coming out. If he gets hit by a tentacle slap here, that's a reset. But he's on phase 4.
Oh. 10.
But he lives through it.
Woo!
Good roll, good roll, good roll. Woo! I imagine he puckered when he saw that pseudopod slap come up. This is like, no, not like this.
Have to do a round of healing there.
Yeah, no, I do not blame him at all. But going full power. No Madam President strats here tonight. We are putting down this king. It's like 2 turns left. There's got to be. And down it goes. So that's GG for Fizzlebeef, clocking in a final time 107. What is it? 32? 33.
We can check the race room and see. But yeah, that is that is done for Fizzlelot right there of Sir Linkalot and Fizzlebeef. And we will get more music going in just a second from 10. And so their final time was 107.30 for Fizzlelot. And soon enough, we'll probably see them in the chat coming to hang out with us. Oh, I think we're already joined by Fizzle and by Sir Linkalot. GG, guys.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So how'd that go, guys?
Oh man, you have no idea the tale of woe I could tell you about all our practice seeds to get handed a fighter and a red mage and level 1 nuke.
Oh yeah.
Christmas. Christmas is the only way to describe it.
It was very nice. That nuke at level 1 is great, and those 2 characters were pretty good. I was almost hoping you'd get a thief though because of those legendary swords.
That sure, but eventually I got handed a Mazda, and it's just like, well, that solves everything.
Yeah, well, no. I was worried for you because you only had the Excal in your inventory, and you were looking at like, oh no, my tail is in Ice Cave and I don't want to go back.
Yeah, the Ice Cave was rough. Like,
rude.
There's too many scripts and stuff, and like the ambushing punchy mummies that managed to punch through all the armor I started with. Like that was unnecessary. But like, I was thinking about it. I was really thinking, but then as soon as I get handed Mazda, it's just like, all right, what do I need tail for? Is just armor? I don't need armor because nothing's gonna survive more than like 2 rounds. So let's just like go.
So Link, I have some questions for you in a second, but let's talk about one more thing here. Fizzle, your Ice Cave dive at the start, was that because you had 2 fire swords and a nuke?
Yes.
That was my thought.
2 fire swords, a nuke, tons of free armor. Like, I stand a decent chance of getting levels in there if scripts aren't terrible and tiles are kind. And there's enough boxes in there that the risk is worth it. Okay.
Headings, you know this other game. Go ask Linkalot some questions.
This other game. Thanks, partner. So before the feeling leaves you, Linkalot, how much did you tense there, just for a second, when you saw Phase 4 Pseudopod go up when Phoebe was down?
Oh, I told Fizz I was restarting my fight. I was gonna have to restart my fight. Like I saw it, I'm just like, I'm dead. I saw that 841 before. Yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm dead. And I saw 5 hits, and I'm like, oh my god, I survived. I got the life off. I'm like, this is awesome. And then I see Petrify going on Phoebe. I'm just like, well, I'm probably not surviving next round. But then she resists the Petrify. I'm just like, I just got so friggin' lucky right now. I'm not gonna get lucky like this again. That's why I went full power. I'm just like, I'm not getting lucky like this. And there were just too many lethal combinations he had. Like, protect Madam President would have been an option, but I feel like there was just too many lethal, because all it would have taken is a 6 pseudopod into Petrify, and you're reset.
Yeah, no, I was literally commenting. I was like, as soon as I saw her go down, I was like, if a pseudopod comes up, this could be a reset. And literally, the word pseudopod popped up, and I was like, no, not like this. I don't want to comment.
That's what I was like when I saw him. Like, not like this. Like, the one move that I know you have that is lethal to me is what you use. Everything else is fine. Yeah, and it's like it survived. I'm like, all right, okay, get Phoebe up, let's heal, and hope nothing bad happens. Like, no, petrify again. It's like, wonderful, great. Thanks, Dark King. I don't want to do this fight again.
Yeah, no, and so otherwise, pretty smooth seed all in all from what I saw. Nothing too arduous, and some fun things. You got the flare golem, which is always great, and getting that Aegis shield early gave you a nice little safety blanket on Ben. What made you decide? Because I saw the spell list, courtesy of our wonderful trackers. What made you decide to take Phoebe over Kaylee? Did you want the power over the protection potentially? Because I know they both rolled white.
So power over protection. She had cure on the off chance that there was something going on where I'd rather do like heal both my characters if it wasn't like nasty. I'd rather have cure than just somebody who can cast life. So that's why I'm gonna go with Phoebe. If I can hit 19, I'll go with Phoebe. And then when I was like 17 or like 18, I was just like, all right, well I was taking those battlefields trying to do the glitch. To get a double level to just go to 20, and it didn't work. But I'm like, all right, I'm close enough to 19. I'll grab Phoebe. I'll get a level on the way, and we'll go. And
yeah. No, I was like 19 to 20 is about the safety threshold that we're probably shooting for in this tournament here. And I mean, overall, really good routing from both of you. I saw some very, very tactical use of the hints over there. Link, I feel kind of bad, not exactly burned hints, but I feel like almost every hint you threw was in your game. It's just somewhere you hadn't checked yet.
Yeah, like the big thing, like early, the scary part was like early, before I got bomb. That was when I was just like, I'm running out of things to check. Like, I'm gonna have to go to Fireburg area and just essentially grind on battlefields until I get something. And I got the bomb. I'm like, all right, cool. That opens up at least Bone Dungeon. And then I pulled Dragon Claw. I'm like, I have all sorts of stuff to do. And we knew his floater. We knew his floater was down in Windia. So I'm like, all right, let me hit my Sun Coin. And Sun Coin's Pazuzu. I'm like, well, that's probably where I was going anyways. I'm definitely going there now. And that was the same thing with Thunder Rock. I didn't know how many points I had. I'm just like, I got enough for one hint. I don't think I have enough for two. And I hinted, think Thunder Rock first. It was like Giant Tree. I'm like, that's where I was probably going. I'm like, I wonder how far I'm away from the next one. Like, hint Captain's Cap had enough. Giant Tree. I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to Giant Tree now. And then find the plus Giant Tree was absolutely stacked.
Yeah, this super loaded. And I have to ask, Fizzlebeef, how important has Floater been for y'all? Because I mean, me and Darkmoon have been talking in our routing, and it's like, I feel like Darkmoon, speak for yourself here. You said you could take or leave it pretty much sometimes.
I mean, it depends on the. It doesn't unlock a ton, but it is speed. So when I get the Floater, I'm super happy about it. But if I don't get it, I know I can complete the game anyway.
So how important has it been for y'all in your practice routing going into this tournament for Floater? Because I saw you hint for it pretty early.
Floater is generally a magic fixing tool more than anything else. The town shuffles have not been kind to us in practice, and I would say the town shuffles were not kind really today, other than a brilliantly placed on rack. But the other, like, we've also just had trash level 1 magic, so I'm just used to just like, okay, now I have to hint for Floater so I can go find functional magic at levels 2 through 4. So it's just kind of baked into the strategy at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think all of the tag teams in the tournament are going to have their own unique kind of quirks when it comes to hinting. I mean, I just got off a podcast where it's like, I spoke with some teams who had basically like, we have a checklist and like, this is what we hint for early on, whether or not we, we're just in the starting area or not. Like, as soon as we get enough points, we hint for these because they've been our pain points. And meanwhile, me and Darkmoon are like, just run until you hit a wall. and then we hit for the wall.
Yeah, it's sometimes like yesterday's seed. We were at a point where I knew I had one or two quick checks that I could do after, but my selection was thin. So at that point, I start spending points on hints to try and get some stuff out of the way. I think I was hinting for stuff that you needed, Hebbings, just to try and help you finish out your game. Because I knew it would just open up more checks for me, and that worked, but it's like, I don't want to waste it too early, especially if, like, I hint for floater in, like, the first 5 minutes, and then suddenly you're like, by the way, I'm over here at the tree, and I just got you floater, and I'm like, oh, why did I spend my points on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's usually, like, we're kind of more hesitant, I guess I would say, to pull trigger on hints, unless we're getting to that point where it's just like, hey, we either have too many options, and we'd like to have something that's like, go do this, or we're getting to that point where we don't have any. We're getting like, I've got 2 or 3 minutes left of doing things, and then I'm in BK mode. It's like I need a hint for something that's going to give me some kind of progression.
Yeah, I usually wait for like loot and key hint until I feel myself closing in on like what is probably shard go mode, because sometimes there might be something else. Like, if I get a hint that comes my way for a dungeon I don't have access to, that's going to take priority over everything else. So I just, after the floater, I like to just kind of sit back and just accumulate hint points until I need to just blow through them all at once.
Yeah, well, I mean, and those are all sound. And I mean, Linkalot, you brought up a great point. Using those hints can free you from the paralyzing freedom of choice, which is huge in some of these randomizers, especially when you open up the world really early.
I mean, the one nice thing is...
Yeah, no, we had that on our last practice, like, in the first 2 minutes, I had all of my coins. I found sand and sun coins, so I could go everywhere in the world except what was locked behind Wakewater. And I was just like, I'm just going to start checking stuff, and we're just going to go. And
yeah.
The worst, I know Fizzle's like, he hints floater. We have had probably the worst location for a floater, almost. Yep. It was inside Doom Castle. It wasn't behind any of the bosses, but it was inside Doom Castle.
Gross.
Well, I was gonna say, one of the nice things about this flag set is the thing that I would hint for automatically right off the bat. As soon as I had the points for it, we don't have to worry about, because we get the canoe, and the canoe gates way too much in AP. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, and that brings up another point. Fizzlebeef, how have you been adjusting to the Bridge to Melman setting? Because I've heard
River to Melman.
Some runners have not been remembering that it's there.
Oh, I always know it's there, and I live in fear of the day I'll have to use it.
We totally didn't have to use one yesterday.
No, absolutely not.
No. So yeah, that's been a thing. But I mean, like I said, all around solid routing. It sounds like you guys have a good system going in terms of communication and teamwork here. So again, congratulations on the win. With the Swiss format here, this will not be the last time we see Fried Tenacity on screen. I know we've been doing this interview while over their gameplay, and they're making good progress here. They're getting close to go mode, I feel.
His black belt has levels.
Yeah, 10 is closing in. He's picking up his Phoebe now, also opting for the power. Gonna be about 3 levels higher than you were, Linkalot, maybe even 4 by the time he wraps this up. So I imagine he's gonna have a bit more of a nicer Dark King. I did have a question, and chat brought this up too. Was there a reason you didn't exit out Rex? Was it XP calculation, or was it, like, what was the reasoning behind that decision? Because he gave you a bit of a tough time.
I forgot Rex could be exited. I thought it was life, and I'm just like, okay, life. And I'm like, I'm not high enough for life. Because I think it's 30 something for life.
It's 34, I think.
Yeah,
but
like, I'm not 30. I'm not 30. I'm like, I can't life him, so I'll just fight him the old-fashioned way. And yeah, he was giving me trouble. I'm like, well, whatever. I'm just like, this is how Doom Castle's gonna be. Let's get it over with right now. And just gave me a precursor to what everything else was gonna be.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's my free co-competition advice right there. You can also exit Rex. Rex and Stone Golem both susceptible to exit. So there you go.
And I just saw in the race room that the other team didn't realize that both teams had to, or the full team got duns at once in the race room. So they have just forfeited, and they will probably come hang out with us before too long. So hopefully, if they want to do an interview, they can. But yes, they have just forfeited, and we may see them finish up on stream shortly.
Yeah, unfortunately, you hate to see it, but again, With this being decided, not the last time you'll see Fried Tenacity. So have you gone over Swiss rules at all yet?
There we go. Sorry about that, fellas.
Hello,
Not a problem.
GG's.
GG's.
gentlemen.
Jeez.
We would have we would have stopped earlier, I guess, but got a little confused there. Was like, wait, is that just one done? Because I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So was Doc behind the tree with her? Like, is that what ended up happening?
Yes.
Yeah, Gemini
Yeah,
Crest
okay.
is your tree wither chick.
So we just didn't
Yeah.
get the chime until late, and I was already like doing other things, and he was out of hint. So
Yeah, no. So I mean, you guys bring up a great point, and one of the things we just got done talking about, there's the limited amount of hints. You only get
Yep.
10, and that's if you 100% the game. So the hints are at a premium. You just can't throw them out. They have a cost in the tournament, and
Yep.
unfortunately, you suffered from the downside of that.
yeah,
which
when
is-
things are gated the way they were, right? It's just there's not a lot you can do about managing some of your hints.
Yeah, I think otherwise though, some pretty sound decisions I think I saw on y'all side of the screen. Some, nice divergence we saw at the beginning. Again, Fizzlebeef dove straight into Ice Cave. Meanwhile, I believe you were in Marsh at that time.
I'd probably hit Marsh first. Yeah, I'd like to at least get Marsh done before I head over to either Earth. And I was real tempted to go Earth this time because of the early rod, but I feel like just Volcano's more dense. I can do Volcano and Ice stuff while I'm over there.
Fair enough. And yeah, 10. I mean, I know you didn't make it to the end, unfortunately, but from what you did experience from the seed, how did you feel about this one? Because I feel like from what I saw on Lincoln side, it really wasn't that bad. Just a couple of like back and forths here and there, but overall, not an awful seed to roll. For
Yeah,
Mystic Quest.
my question for Linkalot was how early did you receive bombs from Fizzle?
I was starting to sweat that I was gonna be in BK mode. 'Cause I hadn't, so I still hadn't been to Fireberg area, but I was I was doing just like the random checks you could do in winter area, and I was like, I don't have much left to check. I could really use bombs or a claw right now, and I'm just like, I've got about 2 minutes. I was about ready to hint for something, and I just see bomb. I'm just like, all right, well, I can go do Bone Dungeon now. And it was like, well, that's really all I have. And then I was like, Dragon Claw. I'm like, well, that's really helpful. And then he had hinted for his floater, and I knew where it was. Like, all right, well, I need my Sun Coin. So I hinted my Sun Coin.
That was fun. I was BK'd for a little bit because I needed the floater, and so it's just grinding in Volcano somewhere close.
The irony of floater being in Lava Dome then, while you're
Yep.
hanging out in Volcano.
Yep.
So I mean, we got some tactical insight into the way Fizzlebeef and Linkalot have been approaching these seeds. How have y'all been doing this in practice? And with your performance here tonight, obviously not bad, but didn't come out the winner. What do you guys think you're going to revise going into your next match?
I don't know. We
Great
haven't
question.
had a lot of opportunity to observe how other people are approaching these seeds, and so I definitely think we're going to spend some time watching back. Clearly, this one, it won't take too long, and sort of absorbing what we can about how other people approach it, because that's the thing. Like, I'm fairly new to FFR, so especially these flags, I'm sort of playing them in a little bit of a vacuum as far as like knowledge bringing into it, so it's very interesting to see how other people approach all the different things.
Yeah, 10. I mean, I don't think you hit nearly the road bumps that Potato hit, unfortunately, but anything you think you might want to revise or approach in terms of routing?
Yeah, it's definitely the thing we've seen a lot in our practice is the FF1 is the one to get walled just because that's the way the games work. Mystic Quest is easy. It seems like a lot of our practices come down to how fast do I get a weapon that isn't the starter weapon, because that's how you get BK'd, is you can't unlock any part of a dungeon. So, if they had unlocked bombs 20 minutes before us or something like that, then there's just no chance because, it is what it is. And sometimes it's luck of the draw. Sometimes I don't know if there's, like Potato said, maybe there's something that we're not doing that other people are doing that is making it easier for them to maybe get past trap chests or who knows? I'm not nearly as experienced on FF1 as Potato is, so I always trust him 100% that he's doing what he, the best that he can, and like every single piece of if he says he can't beat a trap dog, he can't beat it. So, I agree with Potato. We'll look at what other people do and see if we're missing something big, and just get luckier next time. I think that's pretty much the whole key.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I was just talking to Chad about it, and I was about to throw it over the Dark Moon, but this will not be the last time we see your team. This is not one and done. This is Swiss format. So, Dark Moon, if you'd like to explain real quick to chat how that's going to work out.
The format itself?
Yeah, just like a quick overview. And
sure. So it's not going to be their last. It's Swiss format. Swiss is, in a big tournament, can be quite complicated, but for something as small like this, where we have 10 teams that are competing, you're essentially going to have 3 games total, 3 weeks. Each team is going to be playing another team, and they're going to pair up based on the score that they have in the tournament. So right now, when no one has won anything yet, we were paired up randomly. But next week, the 1-0s are going to play against each other, the 0-1s are going to play against each other, and then we'll do another week where the 2-0s, the 1-1s, and the 0-2s will all play and mix and match and get in there. So you're getting a fair bit of competition for your... As we're watching a cat jump back and forth. I'm sorry. So you're getting a fair bit of competition for each of your weeks, and you get to actually enjoy your game and have fun and just enjoy the spirit of the tournament. Once that's over with and we have a score for our top players at that point, then we'll move into the brackets where the top 2 players will face off against each other, and then the next 2 players, score-wise, will face off against each other. The winner of the match will go to finals. The winner of the first match will go to finals. The winner of the second match will go play the second-place player, whoever lost the first match. And then the winner of that match will go on to finals, and then the championship will happen at that point. It's a weird little bracket, but it kind of works based on how Swiss formatting is going. And what it's really going to lead to is a very quick 2.5-week tournament that's just going to be fun for everyone.
Yeah, not to mention, I feel like the format itself really lends itself well to randomizers because, again, rando gonna rando. Sometimes you make the right plays, sometimes you don't. And it just, sometimes it just boils down to luck and to rule out that luck factor, to not feel bad about just getting unlucky sometimes. I like the fact that we'll see these teams multiple times. So I guess in closing here, because I don't want to take up too much of RPG Limit Break's time, thank again to them for hosting us. We'll go to the winning team first. Link-a-Lot, Fizzlebeef, final thoughts from you guys?
I mean, I thought it was a really good race. It was nice. We were zooming. We were looking at the times like this one's gonna be fast. When we're going into our final dungeons, like okay, well, we're going. Fizzle was kind of worried, and I was like, Mystic Quest final dungeon takes a little bit longer, and I told him like, if you need to go do stuff, like, go ahead, because my dungeon takes longer. Even though like with boss rush, like the boss, especially once you get Z and Wyvern and Dark King, like those are gonna take longer than the Final Fantasy 1 bosses. So that's why I told him like, if you want to take 2 to 3 minutes, go looking for spells. If you want to go grab that tail for the armor, like whatever you need to do, like you've got a little bit of time to do it. Because if you just go in right now, you will finish significantly before me. But it was good.
Nice. Fizzlebeef?
Shout outs to the most speed and power seed I think I'm going to see in this tournament.
Fair and balanced. That is, yeah. That was probably like, just kind of just go all in. I think I've seen from FFR with these settings so far. I don't think I've seen anything like that from us in our practice/not practice Dark Moon.
Ours haven't been this bad yet. So, although we have technically only played 2 seeds, so one of them was in the tournament. Yeah.
And 10, I'll go ahead and throw it over to you. Any final thoughts? Any shout outs you want to get out before we close out for the night?
I think just the generic ones. Thank you, RPG Limit Break. Thank you, Headbanks, Dark Moon. Who else is in here right now? I guess I'll say thanks to Link-a-Lot and Fizzlebeef. Whatever. GG's, you guys. That was awesome. I mean, it doesn't feel as racy, but it's like seeing your time pop up now that I know it was your team. I was like, man, you guys just absolutely rinsed us. And, gotta tip my hat to you.
Always great to hear. And finishing out here, Potato, any final thoughts?
Thank you all for putting this on. I'm excited about the rest of the matches, whether I'm participating or not. This is it's a fun, quick tournament. So those are always a blast. And thank you all for putting it on and doing all the work that it takes to sort of get these things running, especially since it's a multi-world tournament and takes a little bit of extra work on the admin side to get everything working appropriately. We definitely appreciate that. And I'm excited to be on board and learning some FFR and having a good time with friends.
For sure. I think the big draw to this tournament is that tag matches in whatever you're watching, whether it be wrestling or whatever you're doing, is tag matches are exciting. So I'm glad to bring that energy here with these events here. And speaking of tag partners, huge shout outs to my co-commentator slash tournament partner, Dark Moon. Thank you for being on the mic with me again tonight. And the Wombo combo of our trackers of Woat and Mechlin, huge shout out to them again. Without them, we probably wouldn't know of half of what's going on sometimes, because it takes a team to bring all this information to you, chat. But Dark Moon, do you have anything to close us out with?
Well, if you like what you saw and you want to see more, come to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. There you can find the links to the Discord, the development Discord, as well as the randomizer itself, resources to train you on how to play the game, and our wiki. And yes, with the wiki, you can also get the link over to the Final Fantasy Mystic Quest randomizer community and their Discord as well, because we love to support our sister community. We have this tournament going on for the next few weeks. We also have going on right now the Duckling Rally, which is our mid-season async tournament for our newer players to train them in how to play the game, as well as give them a chance to face competition among their peers. And we have the Lefenian League, which is our veterans async tournament where they play just crazy flags and have a grand old time being insane. Those are going on right now for the next 5 or 6 weeks as well. And then come early December, we will have, that's December 5th through the 8th, our Final Fantasy Rando Marathon. That is all kinds of randomizers played to benefit charity for 4-ish days right there. Come support the South Carolina Burned Children's Fund, which helps kids that have been burned get the help and care and healing they need, and even get sent off to summer camp so they can hang out with other kids that have been through the process and can just have a grand old time. With that, I'm good, and having so you want to take us home?
Of course, again, huge shout outs to RPG Limit Break for hosting us again tonight. You can find the link to the Mystic Quest Randomizer at ffmqrando.net. Feel free to join the Discord and join us there. We have a new player room hosting information for your first time joining in the game, because I know Mystic Quest is a lot of people's first RPG and very beginner friendly. So I look forward to seeing you all there. And speaking of looking forward to things, I look forward to seeing you all next time for our next race. But with that, I'll say take care. Good night. Thanks for having us.